Welcome to today's video, which is all about how to measure progress without. So today we're going to talk all about how to measure your progress without turning to the scale, because the scale can be one of those things that throw us off track. It's something we've grown accustomed to judge ourselves how well we think we're doing based on the number on the scale that is not relevant to a lot of the things that we're changing in our life, because it could be something that is as simple as retaining water because we had too much salt the day before. It has nothing to do with fat loss in those type of scenarios. So I would suggest to take the scale just out of the equation and focus on realistic factors to show you, are you changing your life? Are you changing your body composition? Just before I jump into this, the reason I know this is so important is because I was a slave to the scale too. I would weigh myself multiple times a day in the beginning, and I would feel good or bad in whatever that scale told me I was supposed to be feeling. If it was up, then I felt bad, and I was a bad person, and I judged myself and all my decisions. And if it was down, well, then obviously I felt like I was successful, but it didn't matter what I was doing or not doing. It was completely irrelevant. Then I started to notice the difference as I started to change my habits, eating better, strength training, that my body, the look of my body, and the other results started to change tremendously, but the scale didn't budge very much, if at all, at certain points. So it can be very frustrating, and if you're stuck there, I want to help and give you realistic ways to look at changes. Okay, so here we go on the first. I have 12. So the first of them is to track a healthy habit. Now, a healthy habit, I mean in terms of what are you doing to improve your health? Are you eating more vegetables every day? Are you tracking how much vegetables am I eating, and am I getting in more than I was in the previous weeks or months? That's huge improvement. You're getting more fiber and more vitamins and all the good stuff that your body requires for quality nutrition. And over time, that's going to only help your results and your health improve. Also, maybe, are you drinking more water than before? Are you moving more? Are you taking more steps than before? Track the things that you're changing so that you know, gee, I'm improving here. These are good habits, and I'm actually putting in the effort and getting the success because of what I'm doing and not because what a number tells me on the scale. So the next one is to take progress pictures. So I'm going to keep picking up this board and putting it back down just so I could talk to you. Taking progress photos is much like taking selfies. So get comfortable taking selfies that only you can see if you don't want to share with anybody else. I would recommend a few things though. Take it once a month or every week at the same time. Take it in the same clothing and something that's form-fitting that you can see the changes. So a lot of times, if we take photos with big baggy t-shirt and shorts, you're not going to see the changes in your body. If you're starting to get smaller, your waistline changes and your hips start to tighten up, you're not going to see those changes in big baggy clothing. So again, form-fitting, something that's against the body so you can see the changes over time. And looking at those back to back, I don't want you to think of it a before and after, because after signifies that we're done. So we're not done. This is lifelong progress. So looking at the progression of your photos over time. So from 1 month to the next, you're going to see great changes that the scale would never tell you if you were just to rely on that. And we don't know what the changes that we're making when we're looking at ourselves every single day. I can't tell you how many times I have a client who weighs in for the week or the month, and they're a little disheartened because maybe the scale didn't change or maybe even went up a little bit. So they're feeling a little down. And what I do is I usually take their before pictures or maybe a month ago picture and I'll line it up next to their current photo, and we do a before and after, and I say, do you see this? Like, you're not going to see that from the scale. The scale doesn't tell you that. And most of the time, I have to say like 99.9% of the time, they're like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea because I just saw the scale go up and I thought I was doing things that were wrong. But it's your body, it fluctuates, water weight, whatever's going on, hormones. There's so many reasons why that scale might show an up, and it's not has nothing to do with what you're doing unless you're just not doing anything. So don't rely on that. Okay, the next one is check in on your skin. Now this one, I don't know if you have ever noticed before, but the more water that we drink, the more that we keep active, the more that we eat the right foods, quality nutrition, the better our skin starts to look. So it's no secret why people that are taking care of themselves, their skin looks really good, and people think, oh my gosh, like your skin looks phenomenal. What's your secret? Well, there's no secret besides taking good care of yourself. And honestly, when you work up a sweat, you look pretty good in that moment. So take a picture. Again, maybe that's when you take your selfie. You want to take a shower. Don't wait too long to let that sweat settle in and clog up any pores. But over time, just the natural benefits of taking care of yourself, you have to wear less makeup over time, less cover up of all of the things that you're not happy with. And flaunt the stuff that you're not as happy with if you're taking care of yourself, because you know what? You deserve to. All right, the next one, track your activity improvements. Okay, this one I love. So those of you that don't know, I have started to walk a lot more these days. I noticed as I gotten older that my steps started to decline. I started to take less steps. And now that I'm working more at home than running around and training people in person, well, my activity level started to drop. Obviously, I still do my workouts and I still move a lot, but if I'm not actively challenging myself to take those steps, then I notice I'll sit more than I'm not. So what I've been also tracking is my walk. So I take the same walk. It's a 3.5 mile loop. It's just a loop. It's nothing exciting. It's from where I live down and around this little area and back up to the top where we live here. And coming up the hill is really, really a challenge at some points because there's a lot of hills around here. Now, in the beginning, when I started it, it was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard. And I'd be really sore after because it was a challenge. And there was days where I did not want to climb up that hill. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go up that hill. It's so hard and I'm tired and I have so much to do and I'm hot and whatever. Okay, so all the excuses that apply, we all deal with them. But the magic is this, in tracking your progress with the activity, like notice your own activity, what you're doing, whether it's playing with your kids, whether it's walking, right? Walking up a hill or walking up the stairs. Notice over time how it's starting to get easier. Like I've been noticing now, like I can power walk up these hills that in the beginning I was completely done with just slow walking. And I'm really excited by that. It's like, you know what? I'm getting older, but I'm still crushing these walks up these hills because I'm being consistent. There's nothing magical about what I'm doing. It's just that I'm consistent and I'm improving and I'm actually celebrating those improvements. So track your own activity and celebrate them, okay? And next, number 5, take a monthly benchmark test. This one is, make sure I didn't skip any. This one's fun, and one that we do in our challenge too is taking monthly fitness assessments, or however often you want to take those. Measure your own strength over time. Obviously, you'll want to be doing your activities so that you can measure it for the right reasons, because if you're not working out and you're measuring yourself, well, you're not going to get as good and improve as much if you're not challenging yourself throughout the course of that month. But what I would say is like start the month. It's kind of the beginning of the month, so you could start this now. Like take a test. There's a test where you could do how many squats can you do in 2 minutes. So put your timer on your phone and put it on 2 minutes and do as many squats with good form as you can. Let me just give you an example. If you don't do squats yet, or you're not really comfortable and confident with squats, have a chair. I'm pointing at my chair here. Sit in the chair with your feet under your knees. Lean slightly forward, arms out in front of you, and just stand up, okay? And sit back down with control. See how many of those you can do with good control. Don't rush through it. How many you can do in 2 minutes time. You can take breaks, you can breathe, but just see how many you get, and then take that same test every month and see how you improve. Another test you could do is how many push-ups can you do, whether it's against the wall, whether it's against a counter, whether you're on the floor on your knees or your toes. Do as many push-ups as you can in, say, a minute or 2, right? Take breaks and then finish. And when the timer dings, write that number down and challenge yourself to take that again in another month. Another one is plank test. Now the plank, you're going to hold onto your forearms on the floor, toes tucked under on the floor, lift your hips and pull your belly in tight and just hold yourself up in plank for as long as you can. Aim to get to 30 seconds first because it's really hard to do. And then from there you can start to look at the 45-second mark, and then minute, and then how much further can you go from there? Again, every month, take that test and see how you've improved. Another test that you could do for time is a wall squat, where you're just going to stand up against a wall. So you just place the back of the shoulders and your whole spine and the back of your hips against that wall. Walk your feet out a little bit and squat down so that look like you're sitting in a chair, but you're not. You're balancing against the wall. Pull your abs in, take your arms at your sides, and just put on your timer and see how long you can hold that position. Your legs are going to start to scream. Your abs are going to start to scream. Your body's going to start to break down. Your brain's going to say, oh my gosh, but stay in there as long as you can and then write that number. If you take those every month and you take that as a benchmark test and you're training in between, you should see improvements. And that is more exciting to me than any number on the scale, because the number stops eventually. Okay, we get to a plateau, but we don't plateau on our goals if we continue to challenge ourselves. Okay, so that's another way to measure it. Number 6, try on your old jeans. I usually tell clients in the beginning, yes, you could take your weight, because obviously that's where a lot of us have been programmed to see change. So I always add that in, but it's not the most important thing. I don't focus in on that at all. Like I said, I focus on pictures and measurements, body fat, and changing the composition and getting stronger with our movements. But another really exciting thing to see is to say, grab a pair of old jeans or something that doesn't fit you. It could be an old dress or something that you haven't worn in a while that's tight on you. You should be able to get it on a little bit. Like, it might not have to fit, but as long as you can get it on, like over your hips, for example, the jeans, maybe can't button it yet. And then note that. Maybe take a picture of how well that fits you. And then in a month later, try them on again, right? But again, you're focusing on good nutrition and your walking and your activity. Then see how they fit. Are they getting a little bit more, are you able to maybe button them or zip them a little bit more? Like, are they getting closer to being a fitted piece of clothing? And then over time, eventually you will be able to fit into that clothing again and celebrate that. That's more exciting to me than any number on the scale. The next one, take the sit to stand test. Now this one we'll do tomorrow, in our live tomorrow. This one is good for your mobility, your balance. It's something they've deemed as a longevity test. Like, how well can you come down to the floor with your legs, your ankles crossed into a seated cross-legged position and stand back up without having to fall and put your hand on the floor or your leg, and balance yourself. So I'm going to show you tomorrow how to get that done and how to score yourself. Because the perfect score is 10, but those of you that can score 8 and up are doing very well. And if you're not at that point yet, then you have the ability to strengthen and get better, right? We're not stuck. We can always improve. So that's another way to see how well you're getting. Number 8 is set a scary goal. This one I think is really exciting. And I actually, for those of you who don't know, I did that when I turned 40. I signed up to do a fitness competition where I was going to stand on stage in a bikini in front of other competitors and judges and, all of the above. So that scared the crap out of me. And what it did, though, is it forced me to push myself outside of my comfort zone. And I'm not telling you to do something that crazy. Maybe you sign up for a 5K race. Maybe you take a 30-day challenge. Maybe you join a program like our Superstar Elite program. What this does is it scares you, right? It scares you, but it's something you can do. And with this right support, with the right encouragement, with the right mindset, you can do anything. And it's when we put ourselves in another, we put ourselves out there in another phase, out of our comfort zone, it forces us to get up and do. We can't make the excuses. Like, I couldn't say, I don't care about doing my workout and eating, because I'm going to get on stage and I need to act like I care what I look like on there. I'm going to look really ridiculous if I don't follow along with what I'm supposed to do. Same thing holds true for you. If you're in a challenge or you're doing a program or you're following something to stay accountable, chances are more likely that you're going to push yourself to do that, improve, and then your habits will be built if it's done in a sustainable, healthy way. So don't do a program that's not healthy, that cuts your calories very, very low and makes you work out ridiculous. I could tell you stories all day, every day about programs I've seen like that, and I do not condone those. I think they're very damaging. All right, number 9, phone a friend. Have a support group. Like, who supports you? Who do you turn to when you feel like, nothing's working and I'm not feeling like I'm doing very well, and I don't know if it's even worth my time? Who's your support system? Again, in our program we have our group of women. You have me, your biggest cheerleader, and then we have the other ladies alongside doing very similar things inside their own life, challenging themselves. And it's really exciting to like put yourself out there and in the group and say, I'm not feeling the best today. And then have somebody else go, oh my gosh, you're doing so good. I keep seeing you doing all your water and your workouts and you're inspiring me. And then you're like, me? I'm inspiring you? Oh my gosh, I've been inspired by you. And that banter goes back and forth, and we're able to pick each other up instead of allowing ourselves to get beaten down, which we just do. It's life. We beat ourselves down. We're very hard on ourselves. So we need to phone a friend or get a support system in check. Number 10, work out with a heart rate monitor. How many times have you ever worked out with a heart rate monitor? We used to do this in a cycling class when I used to teach cycling, and we put on the it was a Polar heart rate monitors, and you track your heart rate throughout the workout. So maybe that's something that you do, and you challenge yourself to see how well you've improved. Are you able to get your numbers up a little bit higher for longer periods of time? Are you able to burn more calories? Obviously, that's not a perfect number. The calories are just a baseline, but it gives you a sense of drive or a challenge to achieve a new level. And so that's always exciting to do. Number 11, assess your sleep. Okay, these last two I think are really, really important, especially when we're looking at fat loss. So sleep, believe it or not, is one of the biggest indicators of whether or not we're going to get good results, because that's when our body grows. That's when it adapts. That's when it's building. That's when it's changing, right? Not when we're working out or we're doing all the things, because that's when we're breaking ourselves down. When we're recovering, when we're resting, that's when the body is rebuilding. So it's really important to get the right amount of sleep. Obviously, if you're not sleeping enough, then you're going to start feeling tired and sluggish. You won't want to do your workouts. And then your food, it's not as good because your hormones are thrown off when you're tired, and it'll start to trigger more more hunger hormones. So your hunger hormones are turned on, not really because you're more hungry, just because you're tired and your body is finding a way to keep you awake. So digesting food will keep you awake more than when you're not fed. So that's another thing that will happen. So it'll trigger you to overeat. It'll trigger you to not work out. It triggers you to do all the things that don't work for your good results. And you're not being able to repair and restore and grow the muscle that you're hoping to achieve inside of your goals. So look to assess your sleep. I've been wearing my Apple Watch. You can wear Fitbit. You can wear get a device that tracks your sleep, or you just track it by pen and paper. What time did I go to sleep? What did I wake up during the night? What time did I wake up? And note how you feel after your sleep. I've been tracking my sleep, and I've been getting better and better and better, and it's such a game change. Like, I feel better. I notice that my energy is better. I notice that I'm dealing with all these hormone shifts a lot better, and I'm able to keep up with my busy life. So it's a huge game changer. And before I get off of this one, I want you to consider when you want to, or if you have kids or you've ever worked with kids, when you want to tire a kid out, what do you tend to do? You take them to the park, or you run around with them and you tire them out. Or when you see them running around, you're like, oh good, they're going to sleep really good tonight, right? Well, the same thing holds true for you. Like, if you're not sleeping well, you can blame it on stress. Yes, that has a huge effect. You can blame it on hormones. Yes, that can be an issue too. But honestly, if you're exhausting yourself in a good way because you're moving a lot and you're following a program and eating right, chances are over time you're going to start to train your body to sleep better because you're going to be more tired, right? And that's a good thing. So you're going to sleep deeper, and then you're going to wake up more rested and ready for the day. So that is another way. And the last but not least, measure your body. If you want to measure something, don't measure the scale, but measure your body's measurements. The reason why is because this is where we want to see change. So say, for example, you've been looking at the scale and you're like, I don't know, I don't see changes on the scale, and it's really frustrating. So I'm going to recommend that get the scale away. Don't stop weighing yourself on the scale. Instead, measure yourself. So get that tape measure out, and here are the areas I'm going to tell you to measure and track once a month. If you see these numbers start to get smaller, oh my gosh, that's fat loss, guys. That's not water weight. That's not losing muscle. You're losing fat. You're changing your body's composition. So here are the areas. I want you to measure around your neck, like where your this is, all the way around, and take that number, okay? And believe it or not, even if you don't have a lot of weight to lose, I've seen clients dramatically see changes here, and it's really exciting when all of a sudden you see, I didn't think I could lose weight here in my neck, but a lot of times when you lose weight, people will see that they see it in your face. So that's kind of the same idea. So measure around your neck, Measure your chest, the widest part of your chest, all the way around. So neck, chest, get around your waist, like at your belly button level, which is the easiest place to remember. It's the same spot. So neck around the middle of the neck, bust around the widest part of your bust, okay? So it's the same place. You're not changing up the direction of where the measuring is going. Belly button level all the way around, and then your hips, okay? And with your hips, I want you to stand in front of a mirror with your feet together, okay? And then you're just gonna measure around the widest part of your hips. You're gonna see the widest part all the way around your booty, all the way around. Track those numbers, and then notice the changes every month. You should see, like if you track just a few of these, and you start to see improvements, guys, do you see the impact that that's going to create in your life? Not a scale number. The scale number does nothing for our life. It just makes us crazy, okay? Your body weight will dramatically drop, but the number doesn't matter as much as your body composition, your body fat. We want to get the body fat down and the muscle up so that we look leaner, we look tighter, we move better, we feel better, and we have a better long-term feeling in our success. Okay, so I hope today's message inspired you, fired you up to take some new stats. Message or post below whatever you found most exciting about this, or what you're going to try for yourself. I'm going to celebrate with you, and until tomorrow, we'll do the sit and stand test tomorrow. Take one of these or more and make this part of your goal, and put that scale away and see how that changes your results over time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.